Welcome to session 4. So in this session, we will learn a little more styling on the text. So what we have learned in previous session was about font, various font related properties like font style, font family, font weight, font size, etc. Right? And that gives us a lot of flexibility on display of textual content. But one thing is still missing, the changes in the color. Or if we want to make a text appear in a different color than the default black, I need to know how to do that. CSS provides few color related properties that can be applied on text, and not just text but various other things, and that makes the web page quite nice, quite interesting, right? So we will be starting to use colors first on text, and then later in this course we will get deeper with the colors and apply that in various other non-textual areas it also. Okay, like borders or creating a box or setting the whole background's color or setting the background of a specific portion, etc. We can use colors, we can use images nicely to prepare the backgrounds, and that gives a whole lot of worth and interest in the web page. So let's focus on colors and its application on text in today's session. Like I said, we will focus on color in depth in our coming sessions. We have already seen these tags and we have used them. These tags are for different purposes, and the tags that are appearing on the on the right hand side here are giving a different presentation. We saw those examples in our previous session. If you have not understood that, you can go and watch the video on YouTube for that. All right, let's get into the color of tags. A color of text, I mean. Okay, so color is the property, very simple. Color is the property which can accept some values, and then those values will make a lot of difference. The value can be specified in different ways. One is the predefined named colors, and then second is a hex value or hexadecimal value of red, green, and blue. You know, these are the basic colors, and all other colors are a combination of different proportions of red, green, and blue. If you can recall your class 10th or 12th physics, where color triangle and color circle was explained in your physics paper, you will recall that three basic colors or foundation colors are red, green, and blue. In computers, you can have different values of red, green, and blue specified, and mixed together, it will give a unique color output. And the possible values for each of these basic color are 0 to 255, an integer between 0 and 255. So it gives you pretty much 256 color portions for red, and equally for green and equally for blue. You can imagine how many color combinations are possible by specifying different values for red, green, and blue. So if you have to specify value of color in RGB unit, you have to use a function like construct, which you see in the second example here, RGB, and the value of red, value of green, and value of blue. And if you don't want to use this, you can also specify an equivalent hexadecimal number. For 0 to 255, you can say 0 to FF. You know, hexadecimal is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and after that you have letters A, B, C, D, E, F. So total it makes 16 numbers, and you can use them for the purpose of colors value. So you can specify 0 to F for the first color, which is red, 0 to F for the second color, which is green, and 0 to F for the third color. But if you are specifying value in hexa, you should prefix that with a letter which is called hash, and you are familiar with this hash. Okay, so hash indicates that the value that is specified after hash is a hex value. There is one more unit which is called HSL unit, and I will talk about that later when we'll get deeper in the colors, when we will set background color and border color, etc. for various sections of HTML. We will use them. But there are plenty of predefined named colors that we can use, like red, green, blue, cyan, gray, dark gray, light gray, and blue, light blue. And there are so many predefined color names and supported by the browser. So we will use them, or we can use very, very specific color by specifying the proportion of each of them. All right. So let's get started. Before getting into the second part, background color, I will do some practice on the color. Okay, so I've created another example, but content is very simple. Now if I browse the page, I will get it like this. Okay, I'll close the previous one. So this is simple, plain black color. I have removed the font styles so that it does not mix things, but we can always use multiple style properties together. So right now I will focus on color, and I say simply red. As a convention, I put the semicolon after the key value pair and come back and see. So it changes the color red. Now if I'm not interested in predefined colors and I want to create my own combination, and I know what is the value that I want to specify, say red full 0, 0, that also means actually red. RGB 25500 means maximum value for red and minimum value for the other two. So appearance wise it will not change. But if I slowly start giving more values, say I said maximum value of red and maximum value of green, and blue is minimum. So red and green together makes which color? Red and green together makes which color? You may not know. So let's see. It makes yellowish, okay, red and green. But you see, it has gone invisible almost, because the background color is also light and the foreground color is also light, and the contrast is not allowing the text to be readable anymore. So you have to choose your color according to the background. You have to have proper contrast between the background and the foreground. All right. So let's keep this color for now and see if I can change the background of this text so that my font color or text color is still yellowish, but it is visible too. Can I change the background color to something darker, which will make this color appear little readable? Okay, so let me create another copy of this without any style property and see how it appears for the time being. Okay, it is still black because there is no style color set. All right, let's go back and see what is there for background, and then we will come back and apply here. So for background, we have the property called background color. And for Again, background color is a color property. It will be applicable on the background of the text or wherever the background color property has been specified. So I can specify background color using the units that we discussed earlier, the named value or RGB value or hex value. All right, so let's go to the example and set the background color. And I will do that for the second P for the time being. And this time I'm going to use a hex value, say red. So I do FF0000, which is indicating FF is the maximum value for red and 0 and 0 for green and blue respectively. Let's see the effect. So this was having no background color, foreground color is black, and let us see what happened. So it puts the background color red. Now, because of the poor contrast, both of them are difficult to read. The first one because of lighter background and lighter foreground, and this one because both foreground and background are light. Now, this is a poor color combination. So while colors gives more life to the page, it may make the page readability difficult. So you have to be very careful when you are specifying non-default colors. If you have observed, the default color combination for foreground and background has been maintained in such a way that the text is always visible. The background has been kept white and the foreground is black so that the contrast is maintained. But if you are changing the contrast by specifying different colors for foreground and background, then you have to make it perfect. So let us now apply color in the second paragraph in such a way that it becomes lighter and it will appear better on the darker foreground. And then here I will apply a darker background so that I get a better view of the foreground color. So here in the first paragraph, I said, say black as the background color because I know the foreground is yellowish. And in this, I had earlier set a red background. So I am saying now for color, use white. So trying to introduce some contrast. And let us see. Now you see both are visible and it looks better. Now we have different presentations. The first paragraph is black in background, yellow in foreground. The second paragraph is red in background and white in foreground. So you can make a combination like this and apply appropriately on different tags. Remember, color is the property that we use for foreground or text font color, and background color is the color that will be used to fill the whole section occupied by the tag. And you can notice that the P tag occupies a very large space, much larger than what is needed to occupy the text span. Let me show you that by replacing P with span. I have the same thing and I am now creating a span instead of P with the same color combination like the second one, and it will occupy smaller space for the background. Okay, now you see P has occupied the entire width while the span has occupied only that much space which was required to display the corresponding text. So this is a big difference. When you are creating tags, you have to be careful how much real estate of the screen, how much portion of the screen you are going to consume by using certain tags. And that will make a lot of difference when you are specifying different backgrounds. Okay, so this makes your page look good or look bad depending on what tags you have chosen, what color combination you have chosen. All right. That is on the color part of text. Next is alignment. So we'll get into color in more details in subsequent sessions. Let's now focus on aligning the text. Alignment of text is very important in certain situations. What we have been observing so far is that everything begins from the leftmost side of the screen, and we are not able to place it elsewhere. So alignment is like placing the content in certain position. We have it left aligned by default. Now I want to say make this particular text say right aligned. So it should appear from the right border or attached to the right border. How will I do that? I have to do it in certain way. So alignment is to be specified, but text alignment or the placement of text horizontally, we have to use the property text align. And then text align can have values like left or right or center or justified. Let's apply that. So this is the span that I had, and it is right aligned. It is left aligned. Let me make it right aligned. I'm just trying, and I change it. Will it make any difference? No. Sometimes, because it is not taking this property's value because of some reason. I will come back to that. Let me try and apply that on the paragraph. And here it works. Now, why is it not working on span while it is working on the paragraph? Any thought? Any reason that comes to your mind? Why it did not work for span while it worked for paragraph? It works for paragraph because paragraph has lot of space available. So the content can be shifted rightward. So it has larger width available, and then it is, see, when I'm changing the screen size, the width of the paragraph is also changing. And then the content is also getting shifted and pushed towards right because the alignment has been set to right. But in case of span, the width is fixed and it is not taking extra width, or it is just accommodating the content, and that's the width. So whether it is left aligned or right aligned, it is not making much difference. So that is a problem with span. Text align may not appear to work in spans while it appears to work in p tag. Text align will work always if the tag occupies the entire width of screen or it has a block display property, right? So block display means if the tag forces a line break automatically. Any tag which forces a line break will have a block display. It will take the larger space, a space larger than what it requires. And in that case, it will allow text align to work properly. So let's now try to text align the content in first section or first paragraph into the center. And remember, words, values sometimes may be different than what you expect. Like color, you have noticed C-O-L-O-R. It is not C-O-L-O-U-R because it is following the American English. Similarly, for center, It is CENTER. Let's come back and see what is the effect of text align center in the first paragraph. Okay, so the text is now appearing somewhere in the middle of the whole block for paragraph. And I keep changing the width, and it readjusted its position based on the text align. Okay, now in some cases we may have vertical alignment issues, and that is quite prevalent if I have a text and then some larger content, like I have a image placed alongside. In that case, image will have a larger, a higher width than what is required for text. And in that case, I can choose to place the text in certain vertical alignment. So what is the property for that? Let's first get into that. For vertical alignment, the property is vertical align. So text align is for horizontal alignment, and vertical align is for the vertical alignment, of course. When there is enough height available and you can place your content aligned to the top or the upper portion of your height, or somewhere in the middle or somewhere in the bottom. By default, the content is always placed bottom. So the default vertical alignment is bottom. Now at this stage, I'm not going to use this property because it requires a larger content which occupies higher height or creates a higher height than the text height itself. We'll come back to this property maybe when we will start dealing with images tomorrow. Okay, so I'm not doing this example right now. So for text, we have already used text align. For vertical align, we will do it tomorrow. Next thing is decoration. So we have used delete command or delete tag earlier. We have used something to underline, like I said, use U tag for underlining. Now for all of those tags, instead of using those tags, you can use style, which is called text decoration. So text will be decorated when you are putting a highlight or putting a line around that. And decorations by default is none. That means it will remove the underlines, it will not put the underline. By default, it is always none. However, in some cases, it is not none. Like in case of a clickable link, we have not created any clickable link, so you can't realize how it appears, but we'll see that in a few sessions from now. So the possible values for text decoration are none, the first and default value, and overline, underline, and line through. Let us see how it works. So let's go to the example, and I'll remove the, or rather I will create some copies, and I'll start applying those text decorations. So I will remove the colors for the time being, and I will say text decoration, and here I will say underline. Okay, as a convention, I will always put a semicolon after the property value. Okay, let's come and see what appears here. So without style, you have already been seeing the paragraph content will not have an underline. But as soon as I put text decoration, it creates an underlining. And if I say overline, was that the value? Let's confirm. Overline was another possible value. So let us see how it works. I have put value over line, and then I will see the appearance. So it puts a line over the text. Now this may not be so useful in some situations, but yeah, I don't know when you will try to use it. And then you have another value which is called line through. So let us now try that. Line hyphen through. Okay, line hyphen through. And I'll go back and see. So it is as good as delete tag, right? It is strike through. It is striking through the content. So line can be placed under the text, over the text, or through the text. Okay, and that is how text decoration works. Okay, I hope you are practicing alongside. Keep practicing. That will give you a lot of understanding. Okay, let's move to the next property. Transform. The next property is transformation. And in transformation, what we do is actually do uppercase, lowercase, or capitalization. We have seen that a little bit in font. We said font. What was the property earlier that we used to capitalize from small? Okay, it's a task. It's a task for you to recall what was the property, what was the style property among font which made all text appear in its capital letter from small to caps. Okay, let's focus on this property for now. Text transform will convert everything from whatever format it has been written to uppercase or to lowercase, or it will capitalize each word's first letter only. Okay, let's practice this. So I have this again copied and pasted, and rather I will create one because I want to create something new. Now remember, whenever you are trying to create a new tag, you should always put up the opening tag and then also put the closing tag immediately before putting the content in the middle. That helps you get rid of unintentional errors. HTML is mostly forgiving, but sometimes it will start misbehaving because it does not find a proper matching closing tag for the tags that you have opened. Okay, so let me write something like this. This is a mixed case content. Okay, I have put up something like this where I am not writing it in a specific case. It has everything in lowercase, everything in uppercase, and mixed case. It's basically all messed up, right? So let us see how it appears. Somebody has a question? Guy, I am not able to hear you. So if you are not speaking or you are not asking question, please go back on mute. SD, please go back on mute. All right, let's see the effect of text decoration. Text decoration property, and first value for that is uppercase. Okay, as a convention I put the semicolon, and let us now see the change. It's not working. text decoration. What's the value? Lower and upper, maybe. Uppercase was extra, I think. I'll just verify. And I put everything in lower. Will it work? Just a second. What are the values? Uppercase, lowercase, capitalize. So let us try other values. I don't know if this is supported in Chrome. Capitalize. No. So text decoration doesn't seem to work in Chrome. Let me try it in other browser and see if it works here. No, it's not working well here. So maybe it's an non-supported property. I will take a look and I will come back why it is not working. All right. So text decoration is one thing which is not really very useful. As I said earlier, various cases are applicable only to Roman and maybe Latin script. It's not useful for other scripts like Hindi, Devanagari, and Brahmi scripts. Okay. The next thing is indentation. So this is useful if you want to have in a paragraph, you want the first line to appear little indented. Okay, so it starts little indented from the rest of the content. So let us see how it works. The value and property are very simple. Property is text indent and value is something in pixel. So let's go back and see this. So let me put some content. This is a line, and I repeat it multiple times so that it gets onto many lines first. Let me remove this style completely, and then you'll see this. So it is now onto multiple lines because it's a paragraph, it goes on and on. But we can observe that the first line is also starting from the leftmost position. Now I want to indent it a little bit. I say, well, this first line should not start right here, but little indented towards, let's say, 50 px, 50 px right. How can I do that? So I will set a style, and style has to be text indent, and I say 50 px. It has to be in size units, and let us see if it works. Yes, so now first line begins 50 px indented towards right, and if I put multiple such paragraphs, I just copy and paste again and again and again, you will see this repeated for each of the paragraph. So it looks like a nicer view, right? Each paragraph begins little indented and it gives you better experience. Okay. All right. So that is about indenting. Next is shadowing, and this will be interesting because here you make your text appear little artistic. So here, what you have observed so far is that it is all the text characters are appearing normally. But if you want to have little shadow around the text, you can use the text shadow, and that will make it like a word art experience. So let me come back to the example, and I will document comment out everything here. So how to comment? Less than, percent, hyphen hyphen, and hyphen hyphen greater than. Everything is commented out. Now I will create a text, So again, I can use span or I can use paragraph. It depends. So I'm going to use span, and I say India. Okay, or let me use capital letters, India. All right, and I see. So now it appears like this. Pretty simple, easy. Then I try to put some shadow. So I will use the shadow property, and here I specify the shadow's dimensions, horizontal and vertical. So let's put P2px, for example. So a shadow of 2px, and we'll gradually make changes in the value and see how it appears. 2px is not making much difference, so let me put up a little more, 4px. Some of the properties are still not supported, and it may not be supported because of certain other reasons. I will come to that. Okay, but it works. So 4px gives it a shadowish feeling. Okay, but it looks little kind of blurred. Now, if I want to put a color of shadow, then also it will work, and it will give us a very different experience. So you see, India is written, and then you have a shadow of India. So India is written in its normal form. Okay, and I say 0 pixel. Sorry. 0 pixel, and red. Okay, let's come back and see. Now it says 4 pixel horizontal, 0 pixel vertical. So it is along the line, and then you have a red colored shadow. So if we go back and we see the values, it says horizontal, vertical. These are mandatory. We have to specify horizontal and vertical shadow values. If I don't have to create a shadow in certain direction, I can say 0 pixel. And then third value will be the color of the shadow. And now if I want to have a blurred effect, I can say blurred for how much. And that is where the third value will become another blur effect value. So between the shadow dimensions and the color, I will put another value, and which will give a blur effect. So let me put say 5 pixel in the middle, and then come back and see what's the effect of that. So it is creating like an image, you see. So it is actually blurring the whole image that way. So let me put a vertical 4px thing, and then see how it makes it little different. So you see, it is pure word art. So this is quite useful, where you can make your text, which is normal text, appear like an image, and you can use the shadow for better experience in various situations. Now, when it is mixed with color and font, it will give a very, very different experience. Say I put a font here, and in font I say sans serif, and then the appearance will be very different. Sorry. You see? So this makes it very, very different. All right, so font along with text effects will make it look very different, and text shadow gives it like some special effect. Okay, let's come back. So shadowing is done. So overall, we have various other properties also available. We have seen color, we have seen text align, text decoration, then indent, shadow, transform. Transform did not work for us. I will take a look at that. And we did not use overflow. We have not used vertical align, but we understand what is that. White space and word spacing. These are also some useful properties. So there are many properties than what we discussed so far, which is quite useful for text. But the most important styles that are useful on text are font related and color related. Many a times you can use the text hyphen something properties as well, especially the text and the text shadow, text indent is also useful, but other properties are not that useful, or it is useful for very specific situation. Okay, so that is about the text. Now, we have learned enough of text management or preparing or presenting the text in different forms. The next thing that we will learn tomorrow is about images, and text with images will make the web page creation much more interesting. We have already started using color, and we will use color with image, and we will use color without text and without image also, so that the whole layout gets a nicer look. And once we will start putting all of these together, our web page will become much stronger. Well, at this stage, I'm explaining you things in isolation. So each property applied on a specific tag. You may not be getting a feeling that it is creating a web page, but in a day or two, once we will understand the basic ingredients, how they work independently and how they work together, once we will start piecing them together, it will get us a very nice looking web page experience. I want to remind you, actually, I gave you a task yesterday to think about what website you would want to create in your practice. So I hope you are thinking about it, because very soon, maybe tomorrow, we will start laying it out. Once the image is done, we will get into the layouts. And once we start laying out the image, the web pages, it will be good for you to practice it on the target website that you have. Remember, it can be simple. It can be one page, as very simple, say your biodata page. But think about it, because that is going to give you some use cases to apply various things that you are learning in this course. Okay, so without practice, it's not going to give you any value. Things are going to get a little complicated as we start mixing things together, but that's the whole essence. At the moment, I am keeping things very separated, isolated, but actual web pages will be very complicated. If you want to take a taste of that, go to any website or go to the portals that we saw yesterday. Do a right click and look for the page source and see the content. It will be mind-boggling. But if you understand the syntax, if you understand how things happen, what is tags, what is properties of tags or elements, what are styles, what are style properties, what is the meaning of each and every style, you will be able to make sense of any complex website, and you can recreate that on your own, or you can take inspiration from them and create it in your personal websites or whatever website that you're creating. Okay, so that leads to the end of session 4 and end of day 2 as well. But before I'm ending, I'm open to questions. All right. So it seems everything was clear, and you will practice it. So no questions for now, and we will end the session today. We are ending it today earlier. No problem. We are good. We are making progress. Tomorrow, we will see how we can use images or show images in HTML. And then we will move towards a few more things like layouting and all. Okay, so keep some images ready that you want to show up on your web pages, because we need images created or image files pre-created. We will not be able to create images from HTML. Of course, there is a way, but we will not go for that. We are going to use the existing image and just embed it or load it in HTML. So have some images ready with you, and I will show you how you can use images in HTML. All right. Thank you so much for attending today's session, and we'll meet again tomorrow 9 a.m.